I think a whole lot of people in the church are absolutely out of their mind because they are in that cognitive dissonance. They are literally saying one thing, doing another, saying they believe one thing, and being a little bit disassociative.
Religion itself is a conglomeration of superstitions and myths and fairy tales and folklore. And most people who are as into it as we are suffering a kind of psychosis, a severe mental disorder where thoughts and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with external reality. We live in this fantasy, imagined world, and we're dealing, when I go to church anymore, and Earl felt this too, you're in a room full of people who are mentally ill, hands uplifted, and I've been there, shouting, running, hollering, speaking, feeling, experiencing, imagining God, fantasizing about God actually loving them and knowing them by name and caring about their lives, and we're caught up into it. It's almost cultic. The actual English word religion is derived from a Latin word that means basically obligation or bond or bound, reverently bound, to bind. So it's a very, very obligatory, constrictive and confined consciousness. The Greek renderings for religion is the same word for superstition.
Okay.
The demonia. Deze means fear or reverence for demons, fear of the entities or the gods. It's fear-based. It's basically fear of the gods or of God. And so religion is built around appeasing an angry God or pleasing a difficult one.
I always see religion in light of man's attempt. It's just man's attempt to reconcile, to explain God, to understand God, and to connect with God. But I would have to also agree that religion has been manipulated to bring people under some type of control by way of fear, and there is a play on the fear of God. Now, this is my thing, Carlton. I was never scared of God. I never thought about hell. This is the truth. I never thought about hell. I never thought about, one day I'm gonna go to heaven, to that place. Can't wait to get there. Those are like the three things that everybody thinks about when it comes to getting saved. My best friend just told me the other day. He said, "No, I got saved because I was scared of hell." They ain't scared the hell out of me. They're scared the hell in me. So But I never experienced that. My thing, I don't know if it's how I'm wired. I can't wrap my mind around being scared of a nigga, being scared of God. Been scared. I just ain't scared. I'm having to wrap my mind around, even in the course of doing the show, of that some of the people that I pastored for 20 years. When I'm saying love the Lord with all of your heart, pray, seek the face of God, become what God you've been born to be. I didn't know they were hearing me say, you better do right because God gonna kill you and you're gonna end up in hell. And I'm like, I didn't tell you that. Where'd you get that from? But it's like in everybody's mind.
That's the general assumption and presumption of the planet for the last 200 years of entrenched indoctrination of the Catholic Church, Christianity Incorporated.
Okay, so now, all right. I didn't have no fear of hell. I wasn't even waiting to go to a place, walk in my purpose, touch the world with all of my gifts.
Why?
So
why?
When I had an encounter with Jesus, for me, I just, what he gave me, it was the love factor that was my motivation. I heard the hell thing. I heard the heaven thing, and it was in songs, that we sang in the choir, and God will get you. And I heard that, and I probably have even said that, but in my heart, I never really believed it because that wasn't what my experience was.
Well, my experience of God was different than my expression because the expression had to fit into the model or the modality of the church.
Okay.
I preached a certain fear, and I trusted people who feared God because if they feared God, that meant they might not sin, even against me. They would be more trustworthy, be a man of integrity. When somebody says he's a man of, this is a man that fears God, well, that means you basically are supposed to be able to trust him because if he fears God, that means he won't break the rules. And so that doesn't mean he's born again. That doesn't mean he's holy. It means that he fears hell enough to not do the things that would send you there. So
Oh my
a
God.
lot of it's psychological. A lot of it's psychological. All these, the scripture says perfect love, meaning mature, full-grown love, casts out fear or phobias, is the Greek word, because fear or phobias hath torment. So people who follow God out of fear are following God out of phobias and out of fear of torment, but their love is immature. Perfect or mature love rejects fear. So immature people, childish people, people who are shallow, who don't have depth, are motivated greatly by their fear of the gods, or fear of God, or fear of God's people, or those are God's priests or policemen.
If that possibly could be most of church people, and that is something,
most of us.
that is something for me to think about. If that's the case, that is, I don't know if that's relationship. I don't think that's relationship.
Well, it is relationship. It's not intimate relationship, because if a lot of people are born in a home of abusive parents, it's usually the father that's cold and distant, and you know he loves you, or you believe he loves you because he protects and provides and takes care of you, but nobody has an intimate relationship, including the mother, except sexually, and that's only when they do it. So, but you fear that God or that father, and you love him, but you're afraid of his belt or his reproof or his rebuke, and boy, get away from there, sit down. What you doing? Did your mama say you could have it? You know, but nobody talks to dad. Dad's unhappy. Dad works hard. Dad is distant and detached.
See,
he's presently absent. You never bond with him physically or emotionally.
And see, that's not how my daddy was. My daddy, I laid on his belly. I listened to the water in his stomach. He called me buddy boy. He would. To this day, I kiss my daddy. You know, he hugs me. I don't have that experience.
That's why most people's appraisal of God is similar to their appraisal of their dad. My dad was warm and affectionate and loving. I kissed him on his lips to the day he died.
Wow.
He expects that. We were very affectionate. My mother was an only child. She was less affectionate. She was more self-centered and self-serving. My dad was used to taking care of his 6 siblings. So he was very caring and very loving and very affirming and very encouraging. That was my experience. So my experience of God was similar to my experience of my dad. Had my dad been like so many of my other friends' dad, cold, distant, harsh, legalistic, boy, get away, you can't do that, you know. And my dad was a disciplinarian, but I never feared him the way many other people, because he was approachable.
Yeah.
And touchable.
I never feared my dad
to the day we died. Yeah. Well, see, that explains why you're saying I wasn't afraid of God. I wasn't afraid of hell. I felt love. Now, if your dad had been different, and many people have abusive dads that they love, and they love him till he goes to the grave, but they fear him, and they never have the intimacy or the relationship with that dad, except based on do your homework, clean your room, what did your mama tell you to do, you know, that kind of thing. You know he loved you, but he would also beat the hell out of you if he needed to.